This video is sponsored by Squarespace. Some of my favorite projects have been things for my garden, specifically for the birds in my garden. I've made a bird feeder, I've made a bird fountain, but somehow I've never made a birdhouse before. So in today's video, I want to make a little tiny village for my local birds. Let's do it. So I decided to make some templates for the birdhouses because slab building with templates is just an easy way to make a bunch of pieces look very similar, quite quickly, I guess. So I've made two different shapes of birdhouses, and I'm also going to alter them a little bit so that each one is different and unique, but they all sort of work together, So I'm just gonna place these as strategically as I can on here and use as much slab as possible. I'm going to have these templates available for you, so if you want to make these as well, you can. They're gonna look a little bit different than these. These are my drafts. When they're done, I'm going to have them looking something like this. I'll make sure to have those done by the time this video goes live. Don't worry. Okay, I'm just gonna use my scraps, wedge them up, and roll out some more. I just finished cutting out all of the roofs. I cut out 3 of each one. But in order to get a little variation, I'm going to alter these a little bit. So I'm going to cut out one exactly to the size of the template, and then I'm going to cut out one 1 centimeter longer. So I'm going to add approximately 1 centimeter. I'm just gonna eyeball this. It doesn't need to be precise. And then the third one, I'll do 2 centimeters. Just gonna leave a little room here. Just cut out approximately another centimeter. Again, it doesn't need to be precise. And then the rest, I'm just going to follow the shape of the template. So I'm only adding 1 centimeter to this side. And then I'm going to do the same for the square birdhouse as well. So I'm just gonna add approximately another centimeter here. But this template, of course, needs 4 pieces. Okay, so I've cut out all my pieces. Now I'm going to start piecing them together. So I like to use this little guy, this angle cutter. I'm going to use this so that each side is going to be overlapping at a 45-degree angle. And then the goal is my seam will just like magically disappear. So cut one side, flip it, very important. Cut the other side. And then, if your pieces are too floppy for this, what you can do is just pop them in front of the fan for a few minutes. So, just do this. We're gonna overlap, press together. Just wanna get them tacked on right now. I can go back in later and smooth it out and make it perfect, but I am planning on adding like a ton of details to these, so maybe it's not even important that I make it look perfect. We have a little bit of whoop sloping in, but I think that that's perfectly fine for the pieces that we're doing. So I'm just going to set this aside and continue assembling. Okay, so I have my birdhouses mostly made. The only thing that I have not added are the roofs. And that's just because the clay is too wet at this point. Like, honestly, I chose the wrong clay for this project. I regretted it as soon as I started rolling up those slabs. This is such a crumbly, short clay. It's beautiful though, and we're gonna work with it. It's gonna be fine, but it's kind of obnoxious to work with, as you can tell. It's fine, it's fine. We can make it happen. There's gonna be a lot of refinement and cleaning up of these things tomorrow when everything is a little bit drier. And I'm just worried about adding these right now because they are still a little bit floppy. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to wrap them up and let them get leather hard tonight. And then tomorrow we'll go back in and adding the roofs and, you know, starting to refine things a little bit. I think this is the better way to do it, even if it takes another day to get this project done, because yeah, I can just see these roofs collapsing under their own weight right now. And my heart can't deal with that right now. So let's wrap these up and see you tomorrow. Let's take a little break to talk about today's sponsor, Squarespace. Squarespace is an all-in-one website platform that artists and entrepreneurs use to stand out online. I've personally been using Squarespace ever since I started my online business because it has incredibly easy to use features, including their drag and drop website builder and integrated SEO tools. Whether you're just starting out or managing a thriving brand, Squarespace makes it easy to create a beautiful website to sell anything from physical products to memberships, digital products, and even services. You can also schedule appointments, create on-brand invoices, and send newsletters. And for the artists watching, you will love their cutting-edge design tools, where you can create a bespoke website that perfectly fits your brand or business. So head to squarespace.com right now for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/potterytothepeople for 10% off your very first website or domain. Now let's get back to the video. Good morning. Okay, so the plan for today is, first of all, attach these guys. They're pretty firm now, but they're not too firm, so I can't attach them. And then we're just going to tidy these up and try to start adding some details, because I want to add a lot of details. I want to add sculptural elements, I want to carve, I want to cut, I want to do all sorts of fun things. I guess I'll tidy these up first. I'm just going to very loosely tidy these because I know I'm gonna add a lot of stuff to them, so any sort of little bumps and stuff might even just get carved off or, you know, be not visible at some point. Okay, what I want to do now is I'm just going to attach these together. For the cylindrical ones, it's going to be very simple. I'm just going to score here and score on the inside and just stick them on. For the square ones, I sort of started to round the tops of this. You can see that it's not quite square anymore. I'm sort of pushing in on the edges to round this out a little bit. This is going to make this better attach to the round inside of the cone lid. But because it's not actually round, I'm going to have to add in little bits of clay to properly stick it on. But that's totally fine. Everything's still wet enough that we can just basically jam some clay in the cracks and it should hold. Should hold. That's the hope. Let's start with the easy one, shall we? I'm gonna use my needle tool to mark where it's touching. And then I've got a little circle that I can score inside of, so I know where they're touching. If you're doing this project too and you're not super sure about the attachment, you can add coils to this one too. I might do that. Let's see how the attachment goes, but theoretically they should line up. Theoretically. I think this one I'm going to put at a slight angle, just because I think it's cute. I want them to look like old little withered houses that have lived in the woods for generations, and each little tenant has added something to it, just like the birds will. I hope the birds will move in. That'll be really cute. Now for the square ones, I'm going to do the sides the same, but once I attach it, it's going to be clear. I need to fill in some gaps, because it basically only touches fully at the corners. But I'm gonna score it anyway so that the coils have something to stick on. I'm gonna take like just a little chunk and jam it up in there. The walls are a little soft, so I'm not gonna blend them so much. I'm just gonna get it up in there. We can blend them later. They're sticking to the roofs, but the walls are really soft still. Just so you can see, it's looking really rough right now. It's fine, it's gonna be fine. We're going to smooth that in later on. Okay, next thing is just start adding stuff to it. So what I definitely want to do for some of these is round the tops, just to add a little bit more variation. So what I can do is just use a ruler or wooden spoon, and I'm just going to start manipulating the top, basically. And just like that, already, like you can see the difference. This one's like a lot more mushroom shaped now. And what I also want to do, potentially, love to add a little bit of a wave to one of these tops, but I worry that they're too dry. Okay. Ta-da! Looks nice, right? So yeah, I'm just going to continue playing with them. I've got a bunch of really loose sketches. I don't know if you can see, but mostly I'm just going to start adding things to them, and we see where it takes us. Ooh, I need to consider how big do these holes need to be. Where's my phone? By the size, I'm imagining them to be for like chickadees because we got loads of those. So let me Google how big that needs to be. How big birdhouse hole chickadee? Bird size hole chart. Okay, here we go. I'm seeing like all these numbers. There's all this information about like how high to put it, other stuff that I don't really understand. But what it seems to be is 1 1/8 to 1 1/4 inch. Okay, so that's around 3 centimeters, give or take a millimeter or two. So I'm gonna make them around 3 centimeters, and I'm just gonna put them at different heights because this is all very confusing to me, and the birds can choose what they like. I sort of don't expect all of these to be inhabited at once, I guess. Yeah, because why would they? So something like this. I'm planning on cutting out this hole for the door, for the chickadee entrance. This is actually like too wet to be adding these details, so let's move on to another one. Okay, well, they still kind of look like nothing. They're starting to look like something. I still have a ton to do. I just decided I'm gonna call it for today because they're just still too wet. So it'd be really helpful if I give them a chance to homogenize. Everything's gonna turn out a little bit neater, cleaner. But I did take the time to sketch out what I want to make on each piece, and it's probably meaningless scribbles to you, but I have an idea. I have a plan for each and every one of these, so I'm pretty freaking excited. I do love the ones that I've added the little chimneys to. I think they're so, so cute. I think I'm gonna add chimneys to all of them. There's more sculptures to come, but yeah, I'm just going to give them some time. So I'll see you tomorrow. Good morning. First, I'm going to roll out a 3mm slab. This is the thinnest thickness gauges that I have because I want to do a little bit of like applique. Okay, I'm gonna let that dry out while I start some other things. Okay, I'm done for the day. I wish I could do more, but the clay is just still too wet. What I want to do tomorrow is a ton of carving. I want to really define a lot of these textures. But overall, I'm really happy with them. I mean, I'm especially tickled with my little star peak here. That was a moment of inspiration, which I'm really pleased with. And yeah, I think they look really, really cute, but I'm super excited for tomorrow because I think tomorrow is going to make them look even more magical. See you then. Good morning. We are finishing the birdhouses today. Today I want to add carving and cut out all the holes and get them looking done. So let's do it. I'm trying to figure out at what point do I call it? This is always the struggle for me with these types of things, because I could just keep adding, and I'm tempted to keep adding stuff. But I feel like at some point it's enough. Like, for example, I added vertical stripes on this one, which I love. Should I add them also on this one? Because I feel like this one looks a little plain compared to this one. But I should at least add some stripes to the chimney. And then I've also been puzzling this entire time, how the heck am I gonna glaze these? Do I use colors, like underglazes, and try and like, I don't know, make them colorful? One idea I was thinking is I could use just one underglaze. I was thinking like a really nice, bold red underglaze could look really, really pretty. And then the rest would just be like, you know, off-white, which is the color of the clay, like a beige. And then I'm tempted to use my blue waste glaze that I showed making a few weeks back. Like, I do want to add some color variation, I think. I think I do. Or I could just add a green to them. Like this is really pretty. I don't know. And I wish you guys could tell me. But at least I have some time to think about it though, because I do have to let these dry out and fire them and everything, so I'm gonna be puzzling. Oh, the other thing I need to do though before I'm done, add the holes to the bottom. So how I'm going to fix them, I wanna stick them on like this beam that I have outside, this horizontal beam. It's actually part of a trellis that I have for some blackberries. So I'm gonna tie them around this horizontal beam. So what I was thinking I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put 4 holes in here, and then I can just use wire or string to kind of latch them to the beam. Okay, I think I'm happy with them and I'm gonna let them dry out now. 2 things though. If you are going to attach your birdhouses any other way, these holes that I cut on the bottom, they're not just for attaching it, it also doubles as drainage holes. I don't know, I read online that birdhouses need drainage holes. It makes sense. The other thing is that you can see I left a lot of like these crumbles on here. It's going to be a lot easier to wait till it's bone dry and then I can really easily scrape those off versus trying to scrape them now. The little crumbles would get back into the holes that I just carved out. It would be a nightmare. So like all these little crumbly pieces, they're not going to stay on here. It's just now until they dry. So I'm gonna put these aside now, let them dry out for about a week, and then we can pop them in the kiln. So see you then. This is the craziest kiln stack I've ever done. Like, I know in theory it's fine to stack them all crazy like this, but makes me very nervous. But I'm like desperate to get them all in one kiln, so I guess we're gonna fire them this way. Be good, my babies. Okay, I had to peek last night to make sure that they all survived. They survived. I'll show you what it looks like. I mean, I haven't touched them yet, but I think they look fine. If you're hearing little crumbly bits, nothing has broken off that I've found so far. It's just, I left some, you know, the little bits that I poked out here, I left them inside and never took them out, and that's why they're crumbling out now. Okay, so when I fired these, I kind of messed up. Normally I would knock off all of the ridges and like crumbly bits before I fire, so I don't have to sand them off after. Fortunately, now I have to sand them. When they're bisqued, it does come off pretty easily, but not as easily as it would have when they're bone dry. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and sand these down now. That will also give me some time to think about how I'm going to glaze these. Still don't know what I'm going to do. What I do know is I'm going to add an oxide wash, but I still have to figure out the color. So let's sand these and we can brainstorm together. I hate wearing this thing. Okay, I grabbed a few of my paint on glaze swatches that I think could work for this project. Honestly, what I would like to do is paint them, like pieces of them, red. I think that would be really cute and joyful. But I unfortunately don't have a red glaze. I've tried so many red glazes and they always burn out. And I probably haven't tried enough. But I don't have a red glaze. What I do have is a red underglaze. So a base of iron wash, some elements colored with my red underglaze. That would be like, can't really see very well, but that would be this middle color here, this red, a very like red. I do have this kind of orange, but it's just not the right red for this project. And then one of these on top, like I could do green. That might look nice and mossy, but would it look Christmassy? Or I could do blue. I really like the idea of like this kind of primary color. Or is this too many colors? I could just do blue and a wash. These are the questions. And then on top of that, do I put a transparent glaze so that all of it's shiny and not just the parts that I've glazed? What my heart is telling me to do is like make them super colorful, but I just don't think that's gonna look good. I just don't think that will look nice in the garden. I want them to be a little bit more muted, a little bit more natural looking. I could go for just green and then they'll look more like hobbit houses. Maybe that's the go. Maybe that's the move instead of red. Ooh, I might do that. I kind of like the idea of them being green. Like this is a very like foresty, mossy green. I think I'm gonna do green, but let me do the iron wash first. I'll keep thinking about it. The iron wash. If you saw my Nerd Forge video, you know exactly what this is. I'm going to do the exact same thing. There's a lot of elements in this project that is inspired by that video. I did that project very recently. That's kind of nice. A continuation of sorts. Just a few scoops of iron oxide in a little bowl. That's probably too much. Add some water. If you've been following me on Instagram, you know that my studio flooded. This is probably gonna be old news by the time you see this video, but right now I'm in the thick of it. And the only thing that's positive about my studio flooding is that I have a load of water in my water reservoir because I keep running my dehumidifiers and yeah, keep emptying them into the water reservoir. That is the only upside to my studio flooding. Wasn't so bad, it's just the floorboards are a little warped now. I think I'm not going to replace them. I just have to repaint some parts of my studio because it's gotten a bit messed up. So it's annoying, but it's not like tragic. Life in a basement. I think I never said the purpose of giving it an iron wash. Like it looks really dark right now, it's not gonna look like that. The iron wash, is going to ideally, theoretically, bring out all of the little details after I wipe it back. So what it does is it just makes all the carving bits, all the little detail stuff stick out more. And I really like to use it on stuff like this. Now I'm going to wipe it back. I've got a bucket full of water here, and we just wipe back as much as we can. And you can see already a little bit how much that brings out that carving. It's decision time. I can't procrastinate anymore. And I'm gonna go with green because I feel like it's a safe choice. Red feels too crazy. Not that it feels too crazy, it just feels like I might not like it. And I kind of like the idea of these mossy birdhouses. I have a specific spot in mind. I don't know if I've mentioned this, but I've got a specific spot in mind for these birdhouses, and I feel like something like this will look better there. This is a box glaze called Malachite. What I want to do is not paint it so like all the roofs are green, all the bodies are not, blah, blah, blah. I want to really mix it up. And I think what I have to do is kind of do like half the roofs for it to look, even. And I have to be a little bit careful because painting details with glazes is not easy, at least not for me. I've finished glazing them. I'm feeling so many mixed feelings right now because I don't know if I just messed them up completely. I'm not sure how I feel about this. I kind of like, it looks very light colored right now, right? And I kind of like the light color. It's gonna look so completely different. Right now, tonally, the glaze is brighter than the body. So like in my brain, it's really hard to parse out which parts I should make darker when is this making any sense? It's hard for me to see how it's gonna look, so it's hard for me to make decisions about which parts I should glaze or not because the tones are reversed. So this is my issue, and I'm not sure if I just totally messed them up by deciding to go for a dark green. We shall see. So I'm going to fire these now, and of course I can't stack them like I did with the Bisque. I'm going to fire these separately. I'm going to have to do 2 different kiln loads. Ta-da! What do we think? I friggin' love them. I'm so happy with how they turned out. I have to admit, like, after I painted them with the glaze, I was really having second thoughts about the glaze, but I'm so happy with how they turned out. So now we need to prepare them for hanging. Something that I forgot to do was buy wire. I've got some string here. I hope that this holds up. I use this in my garden all the time and it usually holds for about a year. Problem is I don't have any wire right now and the shops are closed today, so I'm just going to try to hang them up with this string right now and we shall see how long they last. But I am a little concerned about how I'm gonna get it back out once I feed it through the hole, so I've got some wire that I can try. A little tiny hook. This wire's too thin to hang it up with. That's my problem. Nice. That works. Okay. Just like that. So I'm gonna do that on all of these. Okay, so we're in my garden, and this is the ledge that I want to place them. Also, I'm whispering because I'm in full view of my neighbors right now, so it's kind of embarrassing to be filming. But yeah, I want to kind of line them up here, and then I'll just tie them below. This is a trellis for my blackberries, and I'm hoping that by having the birds live here, they're not going to eat here.
This is my hope. I don't know how logic that is, but. Also, this little corner doesn't get a ton of sunlight. This is something that I read about when I was researching ceramic birdhouses, is that the birds can get roasted in them. So you want to put them in a place that doesn't get a ton of sunlight. This gets sun for like about an hour or so a day, like direct sunlight. So I think it's going to be fine. Ta-da! Well, I guess we have to wait and see if the birds love them as much as I do, but I guess that's it for me today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, friends.